Hello, it's Ricardo and welcome back to Farming Simulator 2022. Today we're going to talk about sugar beet, how you plant it, how you harvest it, and what the yields are all about. Let's take a look. Now, even though sugar beet does look quite innocuous, there in its nice little rows, lovely plants, it is quite an advanced crop in Farming Simulator. You know, it does require hefty investment. Not just to put it in, because typically you want a nice big field to increase your yield and what have you, but you do need specialised equipment to harvest it, and it's an intense effort to harvest. But it is quite a profitable crop as well. Now, as we can see, you plant sugar beet in the March, April and May time, but then it's harvest October, November, so quite late on in the year. It's a busy old time of year, that sort of harvest, especially if you're in the corn, sunflower and soya bean and even cotton area. You could find yourself having multiple projects going on at the same time. Even though selecting sugar beet, we can see that the Johnson's Farmers Market currently, and we're in the middle of the year, so about July time, is knocking on the door of £292. You can get more expensive places to go and sell your harvest, but let's face it, you're going to have to wait until December to January to do that. So let's talk about field preparation. Well, I've gone for a huge old field 39 on my farm, and you can see I've got my massive planter here with a nice long sort of like span of the arm planting my sugar beet. It's covering the ground quite nicely. However, as you can see, I also need to do a bit of weeding and a bit of rollering as well. So no dramas, I've got my weeder, here it is. We're going to extend that and get that on the go as well, get it on the case. It's got a hoe attachment on it as well, and it's really good and quite an effective weeding machine. So take a look at that sort of device when you go to the shop. When it unfolds, you can see it's got quite a nice arm span as well. So we're going to hire a worker for that and get on with something a little less boring instead, like manoeuvring my roller ready to roll the field. Now, as a large old field, I've gone for a large old roller. Look at that. It's the Diablo Mega Roll. And it is a Mega Roll as well, 2430. So, with that extended, and all the arms extended, you can see I'll be able to get round and roll this field quite easily and quite quickly, and more than likely catch up with my weeder that's doing all its weeding halfway across. Either way, it'll do that. We'll hire a worker to do it. There's plenty of room for this weeder to maneuver, and this roller can do all the rolling it wants, it needs, without me having to intervene. Perhaps if I get a little bit closer to some of the buildings. And then before long, after a couple of cycles, you get this. Yes, folks, a nicely planted field of sugar beets. So with the October harvest upon us, it's time to go shopping once again for something that's going to get those sugar beets, those lovely jewels in the ground, out of the ground. And for that, we're going to need the Rootster 604. But also, we're going to need that header. Now, the header is going to chop all the foliage off the sugar beet before you harvest it, just as it says. And it's basically pushed by a tractor. Now, I say pushed by a tractor, you can't drag it, at least not this version anyway. And these are all the versions that come with the main game. So far, there's not a mod for this. So, the Grim FT300 is what we're going to need to take the tops off the sugar beets, which then it can then be harvested by our Rootster 604. Right, so a bit of money to spend here, as you can imagine. Other things we've got to buy are things like planters and cultivators, but we've already got that. We're not going to bother getting anything else. But here is the Grim FT300. We're going to buy ourselves one of those and say okay. Now, I've already got a tractor that I could hook up to that, so that's not a problem. And then we've got the Rootster 604, which, like I say, is the harvester for the sugar beets. So, if you're in any doubt of what to do, you can click on the Beets technology, and you can look at some of these other machines as well that you can use to do some cultivating and chopping off the heads of the sugar root. Okay, so with all that done, we can see we've got a 3 meter width on that one, a 4 meter on the rooper, and a 2.7 on the other rooper as well. Okay, so there are options, but I'm just going to go with the Grim stuff. It's nice, it's red, it's not too big, so you can manage it through a multitude of different fields. Here is our sugar beet harvester, and it's only got a small capacity, to be honest with you. You know, and I was a bit surprised by this, because you're constantly having to decanter the sugar beets out of this with a trailer. It's an arduous crop to do. It really is a long crop, and I'll demonstrate this a little bit further on in the video. So, you know, we're going on the packages. We can see the options that are put amongst us for getting our sugar beets, and now we're going to buy a tractor, and it's time to move on and get that device down to our field with our sugar beets so we can get them harvested. So at our field, now you can see some matured and ready to remove the foliage levels of sugar beet. So you can see the leaves are nice and mature. You can see the sugar beet just poking out the bottom, and here is our tractor. Now, when I said you have to push it, you have to push this tool. You can't pull it. This is the wrong way of doing it, right? You can't do it. As soon as you get near, as soon as you say you hire the worker, it says it can't do it because the tool is attached incorrectly. You attach it to the front of your tractor, wheels at the front, and then you can start topping off these sugar beets. And that's basically how you do it. And I added a weight at the back as well in case there was any problems. Not that you probably need it, but I thought, hey, why not? I wondered if I could attach a weight to the back of this tractor, and of course I could. So there's our sugar beets, nicely in the ground. They've had the tops cut off, all the foliage has been removed. Those sugar beets are ready to be harvested. Now, in essence, here is the problem, and it's a big problem. This device has not got a big enough hopper, and there are no mods available at the time of making this video that allow it to have a bigger hopper. You're going to be constantly alongside this with a trailer, and there's no two ways about it. Right, so our topper is topping off the sugar beets. Time to start harvesting. Hiring a worker, you can see the rails gone on the side, and there's all the sugar beets going into the hopper. Great stuff, and away we go, we're off. Now, with this particular field, field 39, it's a big field. It's a really big field. And going along the length of this field, for every other 1.5 lengths, you're going to have to unload your sugar beets into a trailer. Now, whether you have a smaller trailer and keep going back and forth a store to dump them off and to sell them, or whether you get a bigger trailer like what I've got here, the only problem with this big trailer is you can't get too close to it because it'll hit the extender arm. That's unloading the sugar beets. But you can get smaller trailers in as well, and this larger trailer, if you're careful, you can just get it ready so it can get loaded in as well. So I'm taking mine off to the farmer's market. I've got a good old trailer full of sugar beets right there. We're going to load them off to the left hand side. It's going to take a while. Only 81% full for this particular trailer, so it's about 15,000 litres. So let's see what we're going to get for 15,000 litres of sugar beet. And like I said, it is quite a complicated crop, and you know, depending whether you store your sugar beets or whether you sell them straight away, you're going to be constantly going back and forth the shop and back and forth to the harvester, and you'll get your messages. You've nearly got a full tank on your harvest. That means you've got to get yourself back pretty quickly. So there you go. That was sowing the seeds for sugar beet. That was preparing the fields, lime, fertilizer, rollering. Then we waited till October. Our sugar beets were then ready to be harvested. We got our harvester, the Rooster 604, and we did some harvesting and went back and forth to the shop. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon.